Morning, y'all. This is Gina. I'm out here again at the family's ranch. It's January 20th. That's the roosters crowing bright and early, about 8:30 in the morning. We are sitting at about 36 degrees. Feels like about 30. It's pretty cold out here. I believe we dropped down just to freezing last night, and we did have several freezes this past week. Last weekend, we didn't get a whole lot done inside the house because we were prepping for those freezes, prepping the animals and our plants for those freezes. But I'm going to show you what's been going on. As mentioned previously, we've been doing some work here in what used to be my grandparents' home. It will be my parents' home, hopefully in a few short months. And let's see what's going on. Not just behind door number 1, but what's been going on behind door number 2. Let me get some lights on. So this is the closet that backs up to the main or the primary bathroom that is off the primary bedroom. There was a leak in some of the plumbing, and it was a slow leak that we were not aware of because we don't check this room often, and it got into the carpet and into the drywall. So not last weekend, but the week prior, my brother spent a good deal of time in here. It was his last week off from his work at the university, and so he spent some time in here cutting out a good bit of the drywall and pulling out the carpet. We still need to obviously pull out the subcarpeting, the actual foam that goes under the padding that goes underneath the carpet, and there's still a little bit more drywall that needs to come out. And then of course we have to work on the other side, which is the actual bathroom side. This is the area that was directly behind the toilet, so this is where a lot of the main damage was done. The leak was around the toilet. Or one of the leaks was around the toilet. There was actually 2 leaks that we are aware of. We'll see once we get a plumber in here if there was anything else, but there was definitely a leak at the toilet, and there was also a leak under the sink. I don't have a light, but you can probably see. This is inside the back of the closet. There was access to get to where what used to be the water heater space was. That is now external on the outside of the house, but the water heater used to be in here when the home was first built. But this also is along the side of where the toilet is, so through the wall next to the toilet, and you can see that has a lot of damage. And this is actually behind the shower, and that was cut out as well. There was not a leak from the shower. This just had come over from there. That obviously, you can see there, still needs to be done. We'll try not to stay in here too long. There were also leaks under the bathroom cabinets, which obviously have destroyed the cabinets and some of the wall next to the cabinet. This is a 2 sink, a side-by-side, his and hers, whatever you want to call it, sink, and both sinks, I believe, had leaks, or the leak just, destroyed both sides of the cabinet. That also went across the wall as well, and this is between the cabinet and the shower on the outside of the room. So this is not the side facing the closet. This is the other side. So this is the area behind where the toilet was. We've taken the toilet out, but this is what that wall looks like. The only area of the primary bedroom that received any damage in the actual bedroom is right here. This is the bathroom door, and this area right here, obviously it seeped through, and so there is staining that you can see all right here. So that'll probably have to come out as well. Oh, we will be working in the bathroom, obviously, to pull out everything like we're doing in the closet. But we started in the closet first because it was actually worse in there than it is right now in the bathroom. So as I mentioned, my brother is the one who was doing all of the work over there, and he's done an excellent job so far. I've kind of stayed out of there. He has sprayed down all of that mold with some chemicals, and it is supposed to be inert, dead mold, and, not putting out any spores, but, I'm leaving him to that, at least for now. I will be helping with it. And with actually replacing, but I've been working back here on the back porch. So I did a video 2 weekends ago with everything that needed to be done back here. And if you watched that video, you probably saw that there was a lot of garbage and old farm implements and tools and old stuff from inside the house, and it was just a lot. And I did a lot of work last weekend out here. Didn't really want to work inside, wasn't feeling it. Yeah, so I was out here. It was a really nice weekend, and I thought, well, I should get some stuff done out here. So this is kind of I wouldn't say after, but this is the midpoint. There's still a lot that needs to be done out here. But one of the things that we did do, well, I'll walk around and talk about some of the things that we did. We pulled out, there must have been 4 or 5 big trash bags full of aluminum cans. Unfortunately, they had sat out here so long, the trash bags had torn and the aluminum cans had gone everywhere. So I rebagged all of those and hauled them off. There were a bunch of old appliances. You can still see there's a lot of stuff here, a lot of old camp stoves and stuff, but there was old not refrigerators. There were old, roaster ovens and microwaves and all kinds of things out here. So we hauled those off. All of that was, put into metal heaps at the local dump yard where a lot of recycling is done. This was just full of old magazines and books, old CD cases that were actually my cousin's. CDs hadn't been in them probably since the 90s, but there was a whole tote bag full of CD cases. So hauled that off. Obviously the kayak is still here. That's not going anywhere. This netting is electrical netting that we use for our chicken. So that's not going anywhere for now. These motorcycle parts, well, some of this is motorcycle parts that actually belong to my brother. I cleaned out this cabinet. This cabinet my grandpa actually made. My mother said when she was a child, it used to be just stained wood. It was my uncle's dresser, and so it was just stained wood and it had different handles. And then as an adult, he painted it, my uncle did, for his daughter and put new handles on it, and his daughters use this. So this has been in the family for, well, they're in their 60s, so probably, no, they're in their 70s, so probably close to 60 years or around 60 years. And it was full of tools and musical instruments. I cleaned out the cabinet side. I didn't clean out the dresser side. There's still a lot of tools in there. There's some of the musical instruments. There's a couple of flutes. There's a trumpet, or maybe a cornet. I think it's a trumpet though. And then there was also a clarinet and part of a bass clarinet. And I think the other parts of the bass clarinet are actually inside the house. These bins here, these black ones, actually have some old cast iron and stainless steel pots that were my grandpa's, and after they first passed, I actually brought these out here and put them in these just to store them, and they've actually stayed really well in there. So I kept those in there. These are actually some of my brother's art supplies. Under here, there was a whole lot of old paperwork, bank statements, things like that. There was clothes of my grandpa's, things that we had bagged up right after he had passed, actually, and we got them out here to the porch and we never hauled them off. And so those had stayed here, and I obviously needed to rebag those. So we did that and hauled that off. Over here on this side, there were old grills, propane grills and all kinds of old tools and farm equipment. We hauled everything that was metal to the scrap, and everything else went into the trash. These appliances here still need to be hauled off. None of them work. And then all of this, my brother, as I mentioned in a previous video, he is an art professor. He's an artist. These are actually slip molds for casting ceramics. And he is, you know, he's a ceramicist. He does other forms of art as well, but he is a ceramicist. So those are his, and they're normally stored in a different shed, but that one also needs a new wall. So they're here temporarily, and he's actually going to be moving these to his business that will be opening in about a year. There's a building under renovation that he's going to be moving his business into. So that stuff will be going there. We cleaned out a lot of stuff over here. There was a lot of junk and trash. There was a lot of broken down drywall from a bit of remodeling that had been done. I actually cleaned this cabinet out, which I had mentioned before. Let's see if I can get it open. Had been my great-grandmother's cabinet. And when this was in her house, she would do, and these are actually jars that we had saved when we were kids that were hers. She would do all of her canning, and she would keep all of that stuff in this cabinet, all of her canned goods, you know, which obviously she did a lot of canning if you see the size of it. You know, people had to back then. Well, we wanted to save this cabinet. My cousin and I did, and some of her dishes. And so my grandparents had moved this very, very heavy wood cabinet over here for us, and, you know, kind of made it into a play kitchen for us. And then as we got older, my grandpa used it primarily for storage. This cabinet obviously does not have a back right now, and it's seen better days. And that's because the roof of this used to be the carport where my grandma parked has collapsed. This part over here that's down at about, it's probably about 4.5 feet over there, used to be just as high as this side over here. What has been happening is the water comes off of the roof of the porch, pours on there, and then drains down, and the beams that held this up have actually sunk into the ground. And so the water has been coming and just pouring onto the back of this cabinet. And the reason why I had to clean this out, obviously everything in there was pretty destroyed, but also squirrels, I was thinking it was rats when I had first opened it, but I'm pretty sure it was squirrels, had made nests in here. Could have been rats, but it really seemed like squirrels. There were a lot of acorns. You know, I've dealt with a lot of rat nests in other places, and they don't usually have a whole bunch of acorns, and these had a ton of acorns, but I guess it could have been rats too. Obviously when I was doing all of this, wearing a mask to not breathe all of that in, but I did clean out this cabinet as much as possible. I would like to put a different back on it and maybe move it against the inside wall so that we can continue to use it for storage. Again, a lot of this metal stuff needs to be hauled off. And we did haul off some of the stuff that was out there as well. It is just a lot. We are still obviously work in progress. And the majority of the work that we need to do to get my parents into this house is inside the house. So that usually is our focus. But last weekend, I just couldn't focus on inside the house. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna work outside. It was really nice. It was not freezing cold like it is right now. I am so cold. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this video here. So I can go inside. As I've mentioned before, there is no central air or heat in the house, but it's still a lot less cold in there than it is out here. So thank you for joining me. We will be working again this weekend and trying to get this place cleaned up out here. It is going to warm up a little bit later today, and tomorrow will be a lot warmer, although tomorrow will be rainy. So we may not be working out here tomorrow. We may be working inside the house. We'll see. But I'll do an update video on whatever we get done. Thank you for joining me. See you next time. Bye.